There's not a day that goes by in my life, and I mean this, not a single day that goes by in my life that I don't think about my dad. I don't think about people who paid a dear price and the shoulders upon which I stand. And, you know, greatness to me is faithfulness and doing what is right courageously, facing those things that are principled and right over a long period of time. And I think in our culture and society, we've defined greatness as recognition. Recognition is not greatness. I tell people all the time that greatness is buried side by side in Old Dominion Cemetery in Roanoke, Virginia. That's greatness. And my dad was great, and he was courageous, not because people knew him, not because he did any earth-shattering thing, but because every day of his life he showed up. Every day of his life he lived by his vows to his wife that he had been married to for 53 years before he went home to be with Jesus. Every day of his life, he got up and he went to work, and he put a roof over our heads, food in our stomachs, and he wasn't afraid to look me in my eye and say, liking me is not the main thing, but you're going to do right, boy, and to discipline me and to give me what I needed to fly. And his whole attitude is, look, if you fail in life, it's not going to be that I didn't give you everything that I had. In fact, when he was dying, I'll never forget this. When he was dying, in a moment of lucidity, he looked up and saw me standing next to his bed with a tear trickling down his cheek. He said, boy, I did the very best I could. And to me, that is profound, profound courage. I can give you specific stories. The time in which I was about 9 years old, and a recreational director grabbed me and pushed me down the steps of the playground and accused me of doing something I didn't do. And I said I was going to go home and tell my dad. And when I went home and told my father, I'll never get this. My dad was not a violent man, not at all. But he marched down there and confirmed with my friends that this indeed happened the way I said it was. He's a wise man. He knew that perhaps his son could expand on the truth, but he confirmed that. And he walked into this playground, recreational guy, who was probably in his early 20s. And I won't give you all the details, but how he responded, let's just say it was memorable. And these words, this is the lesson I'll never forget. He looked him in the eye and said, Mister, you will never put your hand on anything with the last name Loritz. Now, I tell that story not because of what Pop did, but I tell that story because of the incredible value that he placed on me. And as a 9-year-old, 10-year-old kid, it just struck me to the core that my dad would not allow anybody to mess with his family. And I can tell you a string of other stories that courageously making decisions not to work triple time on Christmas. He would sacrifice money to make a statement about his family. The principles of leadership, the principles that I live by today, I mean, I read a lot about leadership, I've taught on it, but actually I got them from Pop. And one of the things he used to say to me as a young guy is that you never walk away from responsibility. My father would never allow me to quit a baseball team or to quit any sports team. He wouldn't allow me to quit a part-time job. I'd better have a good reason. He had this thing about showing up. He said, son, you just show up. You don't walk away from responsibilities. Well, you know, through my years of leadership in various platforms, and I'm a senior pastor of a thriving church, and you know, all these leadership positions and boards that I've served on, there have been times in which I've wanted to quit. There have been times in which I've felt the heat. There are times in which I'd walk out of a meeting and say, who needs this mess? And I could hear my father saying, boy, don't walk away. Don't walk away.
At Church on the Living Edge, what's missing isn't the engaging atmosphere or the lively worship. It isn't the relevant preaching or the diverse ministry opportunities we have to offer. It's certainly not our passion for Christ or our hearts for the lost. No, what's missing, friends, is you. Church on the Living Edge. Experience life the way it was intended.